Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined with Bruce. We're back at Cortina land. It is Cortina land, isn't it?
Cortina land or Cortina corner or Cortina crescent.
Other fours are available.
Yeah.
And we have a look at Bruce's new selection of cars and maybe do some tinkering. Let's crack on. So this morning's task is a thermostat swap on a Cortina Mark IV. That weeing noise is not Bruce, that's
Having a wee.
he's having a wee in the bucket.
I'm just undoing the last bolt on the thermostat housing because yeah, all through the winter.
What's access like?
This is pretty good. You don't have to do too much. You've got one bolt on the top and there we go, we're off. So yeah, pretty much through the winter as I've been using this car, it takes an awful long time to warm up, and even when it's up to temperature, the temperature gauge barely sort of moves and the heater's lukewarm. So we're going to put another thermostat in, providing that these beautiful suppliers on eBay have sent me the wrong one, as they always do, but we shall see.
Has you got a retaining spring washer or clip?
Yeah. Didn't need that. Didn't need that at all. That's gone. It's fine. Let's go hunt around.
And today we are blessed with some, I think it's a big ball of orange in the sky. I'm not sure what it is. It's been so long since I last saw it. Yeah, do you remember the sun? I do.
Here comes the sun.
That's it. We'll get copyright striked. So just comparing the two, make sure they're both the same temperature.
Yeah.
They normally stamp them on
the bottom of it, yeah.
On the bottom.
I just want to make sure it's the... Yeah, it looks the right one to me.
Good stuff.
Well done, eBay parts supplier. You haven't f***ed up this time.
So do you think the old stat was just sort of slow to open then?
I don't know, honestly. I just don't think it was doing what it's meant to be doing. Although I did change it when I did all the cylinder head work. We did put a new one in, but it's probably one of these cheap Chinese ones that's duff. Who knows? Yeah, this is a bit tight with that seal.
Smell a bit of something around there. Or...
A little tight. That's what she said.
Whee!
We can get the wire brush and just give her a clean.
Like a good old squirt in the morning.
Oh, lubricate with channels.
He's back.
I'm back. I'll be back. Let's get to the chopper.
Good. Okay, get to the chopper.
That was Arnie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Did he just pop away?
Yeah.
What's
Get
he up?
out now!
What's he up to these days?
I'm running from Mayor of California to get rid of Donald Trump because he's an orange twat. So that must have been there. Hello.
You're quite alright there, Bruce.
No. I've never been right, you know that. It's always a difficult question, isn't it, with me?
It is.
I'll try and get this fucking thing in.
So he's now comparing the gaskets to make sure that they're the same size.
I'm preparing my flange ring.
Ooh, matron. This Mark IV, of course, has got the 2 litre Pinto.
1.6 this one.
Oh, 1.6. She should have said 2 litre, no one would have known the difference.
Ah, they would, if they're a Ford nut, because of the air.
Oh, because of the airbox, yeah. Because the larger airbox is traditionally blue, isn't it? Blue or black?
Blue or black, yeah, they're just a slightly different design to what the 1600s have. Because they've got different carburetors. Carburation.
Does this still have the water-cooled thermostat choke thing? No, it doesn't, does
No,
it?
this is a manual choke which has been fitted from factory. This has got the Ford 1V carb, not VV carb. Everyone who sees a Mark IV Cortina with a 1600 always go, oh, it's got a VV carb. No, it doesn't. From the factory, 1600 Mark IVs had a 1V carb, which was actually quite a reliable, robust little thing. It was the Mark Vs with a 1600 towards the later end that used to have the VV carbs, which when they're running fine, they're okay, but when they start playing up, it's just literally time to put it in the bin and get something else. That's one roughly finger tight, and then the bottom one's fairly easy to get to.
You tend to use sealant or just go and dry with the gasket?
I go in dry as long as the faces are clean.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of smothering everything in sealer because I'm just not a fan of it, to be fair. If the faces are nice and flat and clean and the gasket's good, you shouldn't really need a lot of sealer, or any sealer, to be honest. We didn't have any sealer on it before.
No.
And it was fine. Certain things, like if I'm replacing a carb and I'm putting a new base plate gasket on, I might tend to put a little bit on there, but not a huge amount. That's not good.
What's that? Oh no.
I think I need a new rad cap, don't you?
What's wrong with that?
She's mint mush.
Get the welder out.
Yeah, get the welder out.
You must have one in the spares, or
I've probably got another one somewhere. Let that warm.
so thermostat is back in there, all bolted down. Just need to bleed the cooling system and top up as required. Did you find a cap?
Yeah. Yeah, down in my drawers we have another cap. And it is a Motorcraft one. Well, it's a bit aged, but it works, so
Bit
we'll roll with it.
like the driver.
Am I tax exempt? No, I'm not tax exempt till later this year.
Just wait for it to run up to temperature, get warm. The water pump looks new.
Yeah, I put a new water pump on it. Cylinder head was off, obviously. I put a new head gasket on, new stem seals, new cam belt, oil and filter, and all of that was done. I'm leaving it as it is for the time being, because at some point when the weather gets better, sort of late springtime, we're going to take this engine out and take all of the wiring and all of the plumbing and the heater box out, and we're going to sand down all of this and paint all the engine.
Bit of a tidy.
Yeah, that was the last thing that really wanted doing. I say we did the outside of the car.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't take too long. It'll probably take about half hour to take the engine out. I can actually take one of these in and out on my own. They're very easy. Got an engine crane and what have you. So
3 Cortinas estate. Count them. 1, 2, 3. We'll have a look at those in a second, guys. I think you've seen this one before on the channel. We did a review of this almost 2 years ago now.
I think it was something like that.
But there's 2 new additions. So we'll have a quick nosy and maybe do a test drive on another day. And then of course we've got his Capri. We actually shot a video of this again about 2 years ago now, but we had a massive issue with the sound, so I never ended up uploading it, which is just such a shame, because that was quite a nice little video we did in the New Forest. But yeah, we'll come back to that when there's a bit more progress on it.
Yeah, so this is my Midnight Blue 1979 Mark IV 2.3 V6 estate. I bought this in between Christmas and New Year, so I've not had it all that long. It's a V6, as I say. It's manual transmission, not automatic. It's got factory fitted power steering on it. And this came up for sale, and I really liked the spec of it, being a V6 manual, nice colour, had a nice light blue interior inside it. So I went ahead and picked it up from Caterham in Surrey, and she drove home 2 and a bit hours, absolutely no problems at all. She's got a few cosmetic little chips on her, but you know, it's a 50-year-old car. But other than that, she's as straight as a die, to be fair. I'm pretty happy with it. And then so the second estate which I bought recently was this one, which I picked up in September of 2025, and it was in Southampton. And I've been looking for a Mark III 2000E estate for the best part of 15-20 years, but 2000E estates were rare when they were new, and they're exceptionally rare now. Yeah. And this one kind of like fell on my doorstep, so I thought it'd be rude not to go up and have a look. After speaking to the gentleman that owned the car, he'd had it for about 10 years. He was getting towards sort of retiring age and giving everything up, and he wanted to spend more time with his grandchildren, and he'd lost the garage where the car was being stored, so he decided to put it up for sale. And yeah, after going up there and speaking to him and having a look around the car, we managed to put a deal together, and so that was September last year. But she needs a little bit of attention, mainly on this back wheel arch there. It's just starting to pickle up, but there's nothing major really. All of the doors are good and the sills and what have you, so yeah, just nice to have a 2000E estate, to be honest with you. I've been after one for such a long time, and I think the main part of this was trying to find one that actually had a decent interior, that wasn't ripped to shreds and wasn't all dirty and worn, and kind of came up trumps with that. 2000E is pretty difficult to get any interior parts for anyway, but an estate one is probably even more rare because there's not very many of them left anyway. So yeah, I'll enjoy doing that when it's all shiny and all done. I'm going out to some shows in it and enjoying it. It's a shame it's automatic, but you know, can't have everything. I'm not really a fan of automatics, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. I don't think I shall be taking the automatic box out. I'll probably leave it as it is because it's part of the car's history and character, really. So yeah, nice to have it. Old Goldie Horn, as I've called it.
Right, there you go, thermostat swap on a Ford Cortina. Who would have thought it? I'm going to go indoors and have a cup of tea now. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Arrivederci.